Hi there. This video is about how you set up appointment links or appointment invitations, as System One calls them. They're an incredibly powerful tool that TPP have been working on for the last few years, and they enable patients to receive a link, confirm it's them with their date of birth, and then book an appointment where you specify what that link allows them to book. Done right, and with patients getting used to it, it can really reduce the calls you get coming in and make our recall system and other things work even better than they do already. Um, but you do need to get it right, and it does take a bit of work. So I'm going to show you on this practice how to set them up. You need to have system admin rights because you need to come to organization preferences, to appointments and patient appointment links. If it's not already, you need to enable this bit here. And I would recommend setting this to, I don't know, at least 28 days. That'd be 4 weeks, maybe more. Then you need to set up individual links. Now, if we click on the plus here, you can see what options are available, and frankly, not very many. You may already have a load in here, but I still recommend considering using the ones that we've configured. So if I go configure list, these are all of the options available to you. Annoyingly, you can't see where these options have come from. So it could be from our organization, it could be from your ICB or PCN or goodness knows. What we've done is we've put a full stop at the end of ours, which generally makes them stand out. So you can see here, for example, only bloods, and stick that onto that list. Only OBS, you've got diabetes review and so on. You can choose which ones that you want to add to this list. And you can also look at the appointments, the reports for invites to see which links the system is advising you to send for different patients, and also how many patients you can potentially send them to. I would recommend starting with only bloods because it's a fairly straightforward one to configure, and it's probably one of the most impactful because both with the annual reviews and particularly the monitoring, there'll be a lot of patients that can be sent this link. So imagine 100 patients where before perhaps you sent them a letter or you called them or various things. Now you can text them a link and say half might reply and book themselves in. Others might call up, but as your patients get used to it, those numbers will increase. Now, this is the key bit though. What am I going to restrict them to? So I'm doing this a little bit blind because this isn't a practice I work with lots, but it might be that you would do, say, HCA AM. You might have that one. I don't really know. Slot types. Now, perfect. We've got blood test only. So in a way, because this blood test only is set up, actually, I could probably turn off the rest because wherever this blood test slot is used, presumably it's for bloods. So that's quite an easy one to do. However, if I was to set up, for example, diabetes review, I would imagine that that would be at least, say, 20, 30 minutes, that kind of time frame. And so you need to have your rotas set up to accommodate that. Now, it doesn't mean you have to have a diabetes review slot type, but you do need at the very least slot types that are the right length to match with how long you want it to be. With free slot searches, those can combine slots into a longer one. Sadly, that's not currently possible on this. It'd be brilliant if it was. But basically, the principle applies. You might have to amend your rotas to give the right appointment lengths, and then you can pick the right rotas, the right slots, clinicians. If you're using Teams, you could use Teams. If you're not sure if you've got it right, I would really recommend testing it. So go into a test patient, put your mobile number on there, send them the link using send patient appointment invitation, check it on your phone, check that it works. I have known practices send out hundreds of these, only to have endless phone calls, people telling them it's not working. I would recommend though, start with only bloods, get used to that, get your staff, get your patients used to it, and then start to add more on. A couple of new features that have come out fairly recently. You can enable this cancellation via the appointment link. Personally, I would let them cancel up to an hour before. Why wouldn't you? Because otherwise they're going to DNA the appointment, or maybe even less, and enable rebooking. Again, you may not always want to do that, but generally I'd have thought if you want them to book a blood test, if they need to cancel, they still need that blood test, you want them to be able to rebook. That's about all you need to know. It is a bit of a sort of trial and error thing. I'll just show you one last thing. If we go to clinical reports, And when they get there, I'll just show you how it ties in with the links there. Our invites videos show how to send out the invites with appointment links. The key thing really to be aware of is that you do the appointment link first. So if I right click an action, don't use Comms Annex. You have to do send patient appointment invitation first. It's not going to let me because that's not up to date. But like here, you can see for this practice when it was last run, potentially 300 patients who could be sent a link to book a blood test. So that's a good one to start with. It may well be that you find then that you're using some of these links, but not all. If that's the case, what you can always do is send links to the ones you've got it configured with. The others, you could just use the same sort of generic invite preset that we use when we can't identify a link. I hope that helps. If you need more detail, if you want us to go through it with you, do get in touch. But it's well worth taking the time to get this up and running. Thanks.